It's been a long month. We were just talking the other day about how we were talking about the TCU game, which was our opener in Big 12 play, and one of the coaches said that seemed like 2 years ago. And it's been a month of a lot of games. We've had a lot kind of stuffed in here, um, a few days apart, lots of games, and we play on Friday, and then actually our group gets a week in between games. So I think that it's going to take a lot of mental toughness. Obviously, Friday night, they're big, they're strong, they're fast, and we're going to have to be as good as we can possibly be, I think, to compete with them. And I think compete is the biggest word. I just think that they're a very competitive team and really good on the glass, really good defensively, and we're just going to have to lace them up and compete at the same level.
Coach, how much does it help to have that momentum you guys have right now that you're carrying into Friday's game? How much does that help you guys?
Well, I definitely think that winning breeds confidence, and we've put together some games in a row where we weren't perfect by any means in any of these games, but I think we had stretches of good play, and I think we've probably, more than anything, had different people step up every night. Perfect example was Shug not really being probably on her A game yesterday at Oklahoma, but I thought that other people really stepped up. I thought Joyner played well, Charlie played well, and other guards played well off the bench, gave us tons of energy. And, every game you can kind of pinpoint that either by way of foul trouble or just people hitting big shots or making big plays. And I think that throughout this month, people have gained confidence that just needed playing time, probably more than anything.
How would you describe this rivalry with Baylor? And obviously there's no love lost between the two programs. It seems really, really intense.
We're right down the road from each other. We compete sometimes for recruiting purposes. We recruit a lot of the same players here in Texas, and the players are familiar with each other through club ball and high school basketball. So I think that makes it more competitive in general. Just like I thought the TCU game was incredibly competitive, and we have local kids that are on that team that played their tails off against us. So, and you could go to Tech, and even Oklahoma yesterday has a couple of Texans. So I think it kind of starts with just the fact that these players know each other. And obviously for us, we're trying to reach that point where we're competing for a championship, and that obvious championship has gone through them. So we better be competitive. It better mean something to us to play as competitive as we can be when we get on the floor against them.
The past results these past 2 years against Baylor, is that something you talk to your team about and use as motivation, or are you telling them, don't think about that, focus on Friday?
No, we don't talk about the past a whole lot. There are a couple of players that are on the team that beat them in Waco a few years ago, and that doesn't really mean anything. That's not the same team that it was, nor is this the same team that played last year. We have a lot of players that haven't played Baylor or anybody else in our league for that matter. I go back to yesterday's game. We have half of our team that has never played against Oklahoma, doesn't understand the rivalry of playing against them, which I think is significant. And so it's almost a teaching lesson every time we go out in Big 12 play, because we either are playing, sophomores that didn't really have a lot of experience in it last year, and I firmly believe if they don't play, I'm not sure they're processing what's going on as much. So we have a bunch of, we have some sophomores that didn't necessarily play a lot, and then we have freshmen that haven't experienced any of these teams. So it's a new feeling for them every time they go out, and I think it's just a chance for us to lace up our shoes and try to perform at the level that you have to as we look forward to going to the NCAA tournament. This is a team that will mirror teams that you'll play if you're trying to advance in a tournament.
At this point in the season, y'all are pretty used to playing on Saturdays and Sundays.
No, we're not.
Well, how odd is this little quirk of a Friday conference game? Is it an adjustment? How do you deal with something like that?
Well, we played Tuesday yesterday, and I mean, I understand the importance of playing on television, the exposure that women's basketball gets, and I think it's really, really important that we embrace that. But I will say that I'm not a fan on playing on the same night that high schools play, and I'm disappointed, I guess, and again, not disappointed to be on national television, so don't get me wrong about that at all. But I am disappointed that there are a lot of high school basketball players that would be interested in attending this game tomorrow night, just as I'm sure last night in Oklahoma we played on Tuesday, and Baylor played, I think, yesterday too, or they did play yesterday. So, you know, I wish that we could get away from playing on the same night that high schools do, because I think that's how you grow the game. I mean, these kids want to come see us play, and I hate that, but again, it's a double-edged sword, because I like it that women's basketball is on television, so I'm not complaining. But these quick turnarounds, I think, can at least give you some examples of what tournament play is like. There's good to it.
Coach, what do you think are going to be the keys for this game specifically against Baylor to, as you said, be able to compete against this team that has run a lot of Big 12 teams out of the gym?
Well, I think you hit the word that's the most important, which is compete. It's an every possession game. And if you take a few plays off, or you get down on yourself because something didn't go right and you forget to run back on defense, or you just don't, or you don't box out, you know, those are just critical things. It's in the Big 12, and in particular at a level that they play at, every single possession matters. Whether it be your attention to detail on an inbounds play, or, you know, what you do out of a timeout, your execution. I mean, everything is so critical that it's just a great opportunity for us to measure, you know, can we execute, and can we stay mentally focused for 40 minutes, just on effort. I mean, more than anything. I mean, you can't. The one thing we can't talk about is whether we play hard or not. That's a start.
To that point, you've beaten the #1 team in the country. You went on the road. You beat Tennessee. You've got some pelts on the wall. This team knows that they can take down the biggest and the best. How much do you rely on some of those past results with a team like Baylor coming to town?
Yeah, I don't think you necessarily talk about those wins. I mean, we do understand that provided our team with experience and confidence. And that's why you play that type of schedule. It's why we play Tennessee every year, because we want to be able to show our team that type of atmosphere, and play against that level of competition. Again, you know, we'll go to Stanford next year, and they'll try to return the favor. So those games are on, you know, they're purposeful, because when you get to Big 12 play, as I just mentioned, they're every possession games. We've had some games where we've really played hard every possession, and, you know, you want to get to a place where that becomes the habit. And, you know, even last night, I didn't think we were perfect at all against Oklahoma, but I did think we played hard. And I thought that we stayed engaged, you know, and tried to do the right things for 40 minutes. So we're getting better with that. And I think that you're just really trying to build towards tournament play. You know, where are you trending, up, down? You know, are you getting in a position where you know how to prepare yourself for those tournament games?
Speaking of trending, I would assume you feel like you are trending up, especially after 5 wins in a row, and the way everything's progressing.
Yeah, we're just trying to, again, really, really try to stay focused on, are we executing better? Are we approaching practice as far as game plans, even whether it's on the floor in the film room? How are we preparing every day? Are we doing that to the best of our abilities? You know, can we do it in a condensed amount of time? Can we pay attention so that we're not in the film room or on the floor all day long? So I think that those things become really important as you get into February. And again, tournament play where you have quick turnarounds and you've got to really be attentive. And I think we're getting better at that. So if you ask me if we're trending, yeah, I would say that our attention and our focus is better than it was a month ago.
Obviously, having someone who's 6'5" who can shoot from that side the way Charlie is shooting this season is an asset. What did she do to improve her shot from the end of last season, and when did you guys feel comfortable enough telling her to take those shots?
I mean, you definitely, when you watch Charlie in practice every day, whether it be in position work or her work that she does after practice, you can tell that she has a pure stroke, natural, and she works at it. I mean, there's no question that, you know, as far as like just shooting percentages and efficiency, her shot is pretty efficient when she's facing up. And so I think it's just providing the opportunity. First of all, she's playing now. And she has so much more confidence because she has so many minutes under her belt. And now we're starting to figure out as we move along here, and we're a month into conference play, kind of where people's spots are on the floor and where they can be the most successful, and then can we get them there. Some of it's just there's different places on the floor according to who you're playing. So what worked against Oklahoma is probably not going to work against Baylor, and you could go down the line and say that. So you try to just figure out where's the best place for them to be that night. And some nights it's outside, and then there's some days that she needs to get in that circle and go to work.
Did she show glimpses of this at all last season?
Yeah, she did, and I'm the first to admit that, you know, maybe I should have let her play through some things. I mean, she just didn't have as much of a grasp on the pace of the game, the physicality, all the preparation that goes into it. There was a lot going on in that brain of hers last year as far as processing everything. Would she have figured it out? I can't answer that now. It's too late. But what she's doing now is making the most of her minutes, and she's learning and growing and maturing. And to me, she's made the absolute step that a freshman that did play. I mean, she played. A freshman that gets their feet wet should make a significant step between their freshman and sophomore year. And she's made as big of a step as anybody in the country, in my opinion.
Speaking of minutes under the belt, coach, you know, Tom Higgs.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
and is she okay with her knee?
Oh, yeah. Well, Sean's good. She tweaks it every now and then, as all the old ladies do on our team. They seem to tweak things quite often. I told them I think they're just getting old. But she's good, and I thought that yesterday was a glimpse of what we see in practice a lot, but sometimes in games she gets frustrated, and yesterday was, I thought, a really solid performance by her, and we're going to need that as we move along. We need her to be who she can be, and I was encouraged by last night's performance.
Condensing everything in, maybe including it or putting it aside, because of the proximity, because of their recent history, because of your recent history with them, is this always going to be a game that's circled on the calendar for this team?
I mean, honestly, we circle them all. When you get into league play, I mean, I say this all the time. One of the things that I'm most proud about our team is that we didn't let the 2 losses get us too low to where we just, you know, got in a tailspin. And you can say the same thing about if you win a game. Like, nobody cares. The next team doesn't care what you just did. They're trying to win. So, I mean, I'm sure our players enjoy this game, and it's a competitive game. I mean, they play at a really high level, and it's a good measuring stick. But so was Oklahoma State. I mean, that measured our character enormously. So was Oklahoma. That was a rival game. So you can't look at these games any different. If you do, then you get real disappointed. And we've learned some lessons about that, you know, about maybe taking someone too lightly or letting one loss turn into 2. You just can't do that in this league. You have to play one game at a time, and that has to be the most important game to you. Friday night is the most important game to us, but when we flip the script and go to Lubbock, a week later or 10 days or whatever it is, that will be the most important game to us. And if we look at it any different, then we're going to get in trouble.